Hello, sir. Nice to meet you. Take a seat. There's a mic there for you. First off, this is the biggest turnout we've had for anybody on the MYM
Holy
Buzz stage
crap, look at you guys.
so far this weekend.
Hi, everybody. That's really cool. Thank you.
I'm a bit psyched as well right
Are
now.
you?
So, yeah, I'm going to try and keep my cool.
Do it.
Try and keep my cool.
I'll do my best, too.
We've been
rad.
doing this thing with all the guests
'Kay.
this weekend. Rather than jumping straight into the tell us about The Last of Us, tell
Yeah.
us about this. We want to find out a bit more about Troy
Okay.
as a human being.
Is it person? Is it being?
So we've got a thing called Who do you think you are? That's a different program. Getting to know you.
I think it's hilarious. Who do you think you are? Who do you think I am?
I don't even know who I am right now. So we're gonna give you either ors, and
Okay.
you just tell us which one you prefer.
Okay.
Okay. Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Books or movies?
Whoa, depends on the book, depends on the movie. It depends on the book.
Okay, we'll just let you have that. We'll not force you for a choice.
If it's like a cookbook, I might read the cookbook. Depends on whether if I'm in a baking mood or not. No pun on my last name.
Are you an early bird or a night owl?
Typically a night owl. Yeah. There's the magic in the night, and I like to witness it.
Winter or summer?
Winter for sure. Yeah, man. Make it cold. My lovely little scarf. That's how I say scarf.
PC or Mac?
PC or Mac?
Yeah.
All right. Nobody jump on me on this. I'm a Mac guy. Okay, one guy. Good. That was the universal gasp from everyone else who's a PC gamer going. Before you were all ideas, I was playing PC games. All right, so let's just establish that right now. Continue.
Thank you. Board games or video games? I don't even know why I asked this one.
I gotta say video games. Cool.
Star Wars or Star Trek?
Come on, man. You want to get me killed? Are we going? Okay, but here's the deal. We have to qualify this. Are we going like OTS? Are we going TNG? Or are we going like the original episode 4, 5, and 6? What are we doing?
Star Wars or Star Trek?
Come on, man. Are you going Kirk or Picard? You know, you can't qualify because if you want me to put me up against Jar Jar Binks up against Shatner, I think you know who's going to win. I'm gonna start for it. I'm gonna start for it.
Let's have a couple more. Facebook or Twitter?
Is anybody on Facebook still? I'm just joking. I didn't make it. Everyone's like, I'm on Twitter because a friend of mine who was a writer said it's a great challenge for a writer to try to summate your thought into 140 characters or less. And if you can't do that, maybe you shouldn't share the thought. So that's why I do Twitter.
That's a good one. Thank you for that. That's enough of getting to know
Woo!
you.
It's beginning to sweat there for a little bit.
No pressure. So, obviously, a lot of people will instantly go to Joel for you.
All right.
For most people, because that's one that I first sort of knew more about you as a
Cool.
voice actor. The Last of Us 2 is out soon.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that.
Well, it's been teased.
It's imminent. We know that much.
What can you tell us about it?
Man, here's the main thing that I love to tell people. We went back and forth for a long time as to whether or not we were even going to do a sequel. And one of the things that I really respect about Neil Druckmann as a writer, as a creator, as a director, is that the temptation in games is to set up a franchise, especially knowing that Uncharted was coming to an end, Naughty Dog wanting to kind of hand that torch over to another IP that they could continue their, you know, critical hold on the PlayStation Nation, and him just saying, I don't know, man, I just want to write this game. I just want us to do this game. And to me, that's incredibly admirable because that's where you start writing and creating from a place of honesty as opposed to, well, if I want to do 3 of these, then I probably should hold off on this one thing and just set this up here. And everyone know who Glenn Hansard is? People know who Glenn Hansard is? Wow, I know my audience. Glenn Hansard was in the Frames. Was in the Swell season. He's a singer that I respect because he and Jeff Buckley and several other people sing as if that song is the last song they're ever going to sing. And to me, Neil Druckmann is the very same way. He writes and he creates as if this is the last, not only game that he's ever going to do, but it's the last scene that he's ever going to shoot or the last scene he's ever going to write. And I think that once you start doing that, the impact that is the byproduct of that is The Last of Us. So when we decided that we were going to do a second one, he sat me down at his house and took me through beat by beat, just kind of high level what happens in the game, and just what the story was. 2 hours later, he was saying, and that's our story. And I was in tears, and I was just like, that's the greatest story ever told. It's an unbelievable story. It's an unbelievable journey. It makes me so excited for you guys to be a part of it. It makes me even more excited to be a part of it. And I can't wait to see a lot of these scenes that he talked about, us filming those, because if it's anything like it is in my head, it's gonna be mind-blowing, absolutely mind-blowing. How's that for a teaser? Yeah.
I can't wait for it. I'm guessing you can't wait for it either. Yeah?
Yeah.
The fact with the first game, it is just like it's a film. That's the best way. The part where at the very beginning, everybody's played the game, yeah? Or, yeah. When your daughter, Joel's daughter, meets her demise, I was like crying at the time of that happening. But my favorite part is actually when you're on top of the building, Joel's on top of the building, and the giraffes are walking through the city, and just, I don't even think you even say much. I think you can just do a little, wow. And I'm like, I feel like I'm standing next to Joel watching these giraffes parading through.
That is one of my favorite scenes in the entire game, because here's Joel the entire time is trying to make up for his loss. He's trying to gain redemption, and he feels like he can do that through Ellie. And when we're standing up there and we've gone through all of this stuff, he asks Ellie the same question that he asks in the very beginning, like, so is it everything you thought it could be? Is everything you hoped for? And in this moment, we've escaped David. We've been through about 3/4 of the game, and he knows that Ellie is different. And you see the father in Joel trying to show a child this beautiful moment. We take our kids to the zoo because we want to show them these animals, and we want to witness their childlike wonder with something. And when he sees these giraffes off in the distance, he says, look at this. Please be a child for just 1 second. Let me know that there's still some innocence left in you. And the way that she responds is the most profane way. She says, so fucking cool. And that was a very intentional line that to me says the child is gone, the innocence is lost, and Ellie the child is no more, and now it's just Ellie the survivor. And that to me is one of the saddest moments of the entire game, and I didn't even realize that truth until we were shooting it. So it's not like it's scripted that way. It's it's Ashley and I going through the scene, and me realizing that when she says that, I was like, oh my God, this is the moment. And that's why Joel says, we can leave right now. That's the Hail Mary. It's the last-ditch effort. Maybe I can get the child back if I just remove her now. And she's the one that tells Joel, after everything that we've been through, it can't be for nothing. And it's those beautiful moments that, forget a film, forget a TV show, forget even a game. That, to me, the weight of that moment is felt because for 8 hours up to that point, you're on the stick. You're controlling Joel, or you're controlling Ellie when you get to winter. So you are the one who fought David. You are the one who have been fighting the infected. You are the ones who have been escaping from Billstown. And I don't think that moment means as much without you as the player having that kind of agency, which makes me feel weird about doing a movie. It's like, how do you take the 10 to 12 hours for me, my first playthrough of The Last of Us, and whittle that down to 2 hours? I don't know how you do that. And at what point am I going to want to move that left stick forward or craft something that I can't, you know, I don't know. So we can go down that rabbit hole real fast.
It was like a lot of motion capture for that game. Do you find that when you're doing a game with motion capture, it helps you develop the character more?
For sure. I mean, anytime that you can infuse more of yourself into the character, and trust me, there's a challenge like right now with Telltale's Batman series. If anybody's playing that, that's a typical radio play. It's us actors sometime together in the booth, but most often it's just us separately, operating in a vacuum, and that's a skill set by itself. But when you get actors on a stage together, inherently your performance is going to inform my performance, and what you do is going to make me think differently about my choice. And it's also now not just my voice that I'm hoping that an animator can translate what my intention was, but it's now my movement, my face, my performance that is being mapped to that character. So every time I get a chance to do performance capture, we just finished doing Shadow of War, which is the sequel to Shadow of Mordor, the Lord of the Rings game. That's when you go, woo! There it is. Thank you. That was like perfectly in cue. That's scary. That was a game that we did performance capture, and I got to direct the performance capture of that. And it was amazing to see, like, as a director, I look through a script and I go, okay, so this is kind of the natural choice. And working with Laura Bailey or working with Alistair Duncan, who is a Scot. There you go. Now you're picking up the cues. Seeing their choices as a director, I go, oh, wow, I'm really surprised. I wouldn't think that was the actual choice, but you actually taught me something about that character. So I think being able to do full performance capture like that, to me as an actor, as a director, and as a gamer, I feel the effect of that, and I feel the elevation of the performance when that is a factor.
Well, thank you. So let's talk a little bit about Joker.
Okay. You first.
What was it like stepping into that part?
Terrifying, petrifying, mortifying. It was the most scared I've ever been. And I think consequently or simultaneously the most arrogant that I think I've ever been. I was coming off a real big high. We had done The Last of Us. We had done BioShock Infinite. We had done. There have been some great titles, and I went in for this audition and I got the gig. And then the worst thing happened. They offered it to me, and I went, "Oh no, you don't want to do that." And I was so scared that I would do a bad job, that I would somehow either people would think I was bad and that would be the end of my career, or I thought that I would ruin the game and that people would not like the game because of my performance. And our director, who's a Scot as well, said, he goes, I'm going to do a terrible Scottish accent. You ready? Look, Troy, we made a great game. I don't think you can cock it up. And I was like, you're right. And it taught me that a game is the sum of its parts, and it's greater than the sum of its parts. And but man, all I wanted to do, because growing up, I remember looking at my telly and pointing to Batman the Animated Series and going, Mark Hamill is my Joker, Kevin Conroy is my Batman, and to that day, that is the truth. There will never, ever be anybody better than that. Because to me, Kevin Conroy was the perfect Batman and the perfect Bruce Wayne. I believed him as both people. And to this day, 25 years on, he still, to me, captures that. Mark Hamill was the perfect blend of the maniac and the clown. And I love that blend between the two. So the fact that they brought Mark and Kevin back in for the Arkham series, and the fact that they wanted the version of the Joker that I did to be able to point to that made it, for me, way easier to navigate, because I wasn't having to do something like Heath Ledger did, which is don't do Mark Hamill, don't do Jack Nicholson, don't do Cesar Romero, come up with something new. No, I didn't, absolutely not. And so Heath Ledger came up with Tom Waits as the Joker, which was awesome. But for me, all I wanted to do was make people believe, not that it was Mark Hamill, but that it was the Joker. If I did that, then I did my job. But we walked out, Roger Craig Smith, who played Batman, and that he and I both walked out every session going, you know we're going to get fired, right? You're like, that's they were going to replace us, and we'll happily get replaced by Mark and Kevin. And then next thing you know, the game came out, and you guys have been incredibly kind about it. And there's not a day that goes by that I don't pinch myself and will go,
I got to be the Joker.
yeah.
I heard that you were once asked to do the Hushabye Baby poem for a kid once.
These parents, will you sing Rockabye Baby to my... I was like, absolutely, no. As the Joker? No.
Rockabye baby on the treetop. When the wind blows, the cradle will rock. Down will come baby, cradle it all. And you'll be sitting there with your parents weeping all over you. I'm just kidding. Happy birthday.
It's terrible. Terrible. Oh, man.
Very good. I think in the video I seen that you did it, you were like, I'm really sorry, kid.
I'm really sorry. They're going to bill me for the psychiatric bill later.
What I want to do is open the floor.
Yeah.
So anybody with any questions for Troy, stick your hand
Yeah.
up. CJ's going to do the run around.
Yeah.
And just get the mic on.
It does help. Oh,
There you go.
wow, I hear my voice. Okay, hello, you're first.
Oh, first of all, thank you for coming to Scotland.
Thank you for having me.
Your panel yesterday was a complete inspiration.
Right on.
And it's awesome. But the question I would ask is, I know you're a fantastic voice actor, but how did you get back into music after voice acting for so long?
Who was in the panel yesterday? Not a plan. I swear to God, this is happening organically. There we are. You make magic happen with that microphone too, by the way. First of all, because you were in the panel yesterday, let me first say thank you.
No, not at all.
There we are. For those of you who don't know, my original passion was music, and I thought I was going to light the world on fire with my music. No. But what I love is that sometimes you don't choose your life chooses you, and you can either spend your life fighting against that or find the little Tao in you and start just going with the flow, and it will lead you to a much cooler place. So when people say, you know, if there's doors that are closing, sure, you can kick them down, or you can check to see the other doors that are opening up. Because what happened with me is that life led me to where I'm at, and I'm in Scotland, and that's cool. And I got to do some really cool games. So I'm glad that I didn't try to make my life what I wanted it to be. I allowed myself to let my life be what it wanted to be, and that's led me here. And so now I get to go back and do my original passion without the necessity of I really need to make money doing this. And so I'm allowed to create more freely. And the product of that is 3 years ago we did an album called Sitting in the Fire, and I got together with a lot of the same people and some new ones, and we created this thing called Window to the Abbey. And we just finished doing an album called Moving Around Bias that comes out, I'll let you guys know first, October 6th. So it's almost around the corner. Thank you. Now you're getting way better, like woke up. Yeah. So to me, it was about letting go and not trying to live life according to what my perception of my life should be, but really being open to what life wanted to have in store for me. And that required a lot of humility, I think, on my part, but the rewards for that are endless, and I'm super grateful. So thank you. Yeah, my pleasure.
Hello, Mr. Baker. Now, I asked this question to Peter Davidson, the Fifth Doctor, yesterday.
Okay.
So, what's it like to be in this, what should I think, voice acting industry? What's it like to work there, and how do you get in to begin with?
The implication there is there's a door and that there's a toll, and there simply isn't. I mean, for me, I tripped backwards into this. Again, my path was music. I happened to be at a studio that was doing car adverts, and I just happened to be at the right place at the right time. But if you talk to Nolan North, his path was completely different. If you talk to Laura Bailey or Travis Willingham or Liam O'Brien, their path was completely different than mine, which says to me there isn't one way of doing it. I think that there's things that you know, everyone says that luck is simply preparedness, meaning opportunity. Make sure that you're prepared, and if you want to be an actor, go where actors are. Do what actors do. And number one, that's being involved in theater. That will teach you how to take direction. It'll teach you how to build a character from the ground up. It'll teach you how to take rejection. Or you just ask out different people constantly and hear no's, and then you're like, I'm ready to be an actor. But for me, it was putting myself in a place where it required me to be brave enough to fail, and I love that phrase. Because sometimes you do, and that's okay. But when you fail, then you learn what not to do. But when you succeed, a lot of times you're left on the other side with question marks. I have no idea what led me to that place. So what I try to do is I try to fail, and then I find out how to succeed. If that makes any sense. Cool.
We're heading over here. Hi.
Where are you
Mom's
at?
in the air. To your right. Hello
Oh.
there.
Oh, there he is.
Yes, we have a Jessica Jones here. So your question?
Whoa.
Hi, hello. I just wanted to ask, I understand that the career of a voice actor can be very emotionally taxing, dependent on attachment to characters or
Sure.
dependent on how a project goes. What would you say was the most emotionally taxing of your roles?
I would definitely say if you played The Last of Us, the Sarah scene, more so than any other thing that I've ever done, it rocked me, and it made me a better actor because of it. Because I think when we first started to shoot that scene, and there's a brilliant documentary called Grounded that goes into much greater detail about this, but I set about in that scene originally wanting to really impress people with how good of an actor I could be, and Neil Druckmann was smart enough to know how to break me down to what the scene required, and that's for a father to go through a process of loss. And it took multiple iterations of us shooting that scene for us to get it right, but when we first shot that, I ended up in bed and didn't surface for a day. It really, really messed with me. So any actor that has to go through a scene like that, if it ends up on the screen and it moves you in any way, just know that there was a lot of work that went into that, for sure.
Right,
Yes, sir.
Back down. Lost the mic. Oh, there we go. Okay, here you go.
Hello, Troy.
Hello, sir.
Hang on. Trying to get my composure here.
No worries.
Hello, Troy. You may remember me from today's signing.
I do.
Thank you. Anyway, I was sorry. I was going to ask you about the progress on Last of Us 2, but I think I want to ask this instead. When you were working on Arkham Origins, did Mark Hamill ever comment about your performance as the Joker?
It was afterwards. I tell you, if I could have gotten a thumbs up from him while we were doing it, I would have felt a lot better about it. We have the same agent, and so through his agent, he was, I was told, no, he really loves what you're doing. But it wasn't until we were backstage at the Video Game Awards or DICE Awards, I can't remember which, and I saw Mark, and we had worked together off and on with different things, but Mark meets millions of people, and so a lot of times you don't expect him to remember you. And I said, hey, Mark, how are you? And I walked, he was like, hi. Oh, wait. And he grabbed me and he pulled me back. He was like, listen, I love what you did with the Joker. I love what you're doing. He was like, I had to remind myself if I had done that job or not because I thought it was me. And I went, I literally turned around, I looked at my wife, I was like, I can die now. And she goes, he's behind you. I'm like, shit, sorry. So that meant the world to me. And all I wanted to do was, I feel like Mark's understanding of that character transcends anybody else's, including Bob Kane's. And for him to be able to go, you did a good job, those words are leave an indelible mark on me. So it really meant something to me. And I was able to share that with him. So yeah, he was like, yes. And there's never been someone who's been more supportive of other people with that role than Mark has been, for sure. Yes, sir.
Hello, Mr. Becker. It's nice
Hello.
to have you here. Okay. How much pressure was on you when you did Jake Mueller for Resident Evil 6?
Tons. Huge. Did you guys hear that? Jake Mueller, Resident Evil 6? There's a Wesker walking around here, too. And I said, hi, Da. And he goes, I'm like, never mind. I'm a huge Resident Evil fan to begin with. And Wesker that's like the iconic villain, right? So to be able to play his son, it's weird because we wanted that to be a surprise. And so I didn't want to come out with the glasses and go, hello. I didn't want to be like too on the nose about it. And that's when you start trusting your directors. And we had 2 fantastic directors on that. And that was also a process unlike any other that I've ever done. We shot the entire game as if it were a movie, full wardrobe, props, makeup, sets, everything. Lit it, shot it like a movie. They took it back to Japan, cut it up, scored it, special effects, everything. Looked at it and went, all right, we're going to change this, change this, change this. And then we came back and we did all the performance capture for it. I was the only actor to go through all the phases of the previs, what they call it, the performance capture, and then the face and the body. They like swapped out different people the entire way, but I was the only one who made it through. So Jake is like, man, to be a part of Resident Evil. I've been a part of some really, really cool franchises, and like the teenager in me and the kid in me that grew up playing those games was freaking out the entire time because it's all that. Final Fantasy, come on, yes. Metal Gear, come on, yes. So the only person I don't want to replace is Charles Martinet because I don't want to. I want him to be Mario like for all of eternity. But if I could be in a Nintendo game, that'll be good. There we go. Where are we at now?
Gentleman here.
Troy, just before we do,
Yeah.
can we hear a Mario?
Woohoo! See, it's just not as good as that. That's like really Charlie. If you ever meet him in real life, I mean, like that's him. He is the most. He understands that character, and to him, Mario is always positive, and it's just this ray of sunshine, just like Charles is. I love that character. I love Charles too. Yes, sir.
Okay, hello. So you've done tons of voice acting over the years. What do you feel is the character people would be least likely to recognize you as, just from the voice
Wow,
alone?
man, good for you. The character that people most or least likely recognize me as. Dude, you stumped me, bro. Well done. Because I look at that and I go, yeah, well, yeah, give this guy a hand, for sure. Because does that mean that it's the, like, I played Soldier A in something? Or does that mean that I did such a good job that you didn't know that it was me and it could be a very, very popular game? There's a lot of people that, there's some people here that know this, but Excalibur? All right, so that's one that that's one that I did that I love. Kanji Tatsumi in Persona 4. Come on, man, that's a lot. Okay, so I don't know if these are the ones, but to that point, I think my job is to disappear into that role. And I don't want people to see Troy Baker. I want them to see that character, whether that's Kanji, Excalibur, Joel, Booker, it doesn't matter. If all you see is that character, then I've done my job. So hopefully the answer to that question is every role. That's a good answer, wasn't it? Let's go. Yes, sir.
Hi. Well, in Uncharted 4, you played Sam Drake,
Yeah.
and well, in that game, obviously, you went. Your character went to Scotland. So,
Yes.
What is your opinion of Scotland?
Oh.
Can I suggest?
What do you
say
mean? You think
good
this is going to be a
things?
controversial? It's not going to be a controversial answer. I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave. I almost got. It was almost a complete Scottish experience last night because I almost got into a fight unwittingly. I was in the pub and someone says, "Are you a good Tim?" And I went, well, I don't know what that means, but you're looking at me and you're a very large gentleman. So yes, no, what am I? So I loved it last night. I went to this bar and had several pints with these guys, and I think I have a new best friend. It was amazing. So I don't know if he's like a kind of funny guy or whatever, but there's like 4 people that got that joke. That's cool. But no, you guys are beautiful. And someone goes, the weather here is miserable. I'm like, no, we hear about rain. We don't actually ever get to experience rain in Los Angeles. So I'm getting my fill. I'm like going to be Tim Robbins at the end of Shawshank Redemption outside just like this, just head back, just drinking it in. So no, I absolutely love it. And this one thing that I wanted to go to, so I was like, we can actually go to Scotland first and then come back and shoot all of Scotland for Uncharted 4. That would have been cool. But then I would have had to go to Madagascar as well. I'm not sure if I want to go there. So on the tip of Africa. Who's next? Yes, sir.
When you did the role of Joker in Batman Arkham Origins, was that probably one of your hardest roles to do, and especially as well because you played so many other voice actors, of course, like Last of Us as Joel. Was it hard to also get the vibe of like the laughter How long did it take you to do that?
Man, we worked on that game for about a solid year and a half, I believe. So it was quite some time. And to be honest with you, yeah, physically, it's one of the hardest roles that I've ever done. Some people know about this. Full Metal Alchemist fans? All right. So I was originally cast as Greed. Not in Brotherhood, in Full Metal Alchemist. I walked in, my very first scene as Greed. Super excited about this. I will never forget. 30 seconds of building maniacal laughter. That's the direction. 30 seconds of building maniacal laughter. I learned very quickly that one thing that's not in my wheelhouse is 30 seconds of building maniacal laughter. To wit, it was the first time that I've ever been fired from a role. Yeah, that feels good. That's really good for your ego. I got fired, canned, housed from being Greed. Cut to 10, 12 years later, I'm being cast as the Joker. 30 seconds of building maniacal laughter? How about 3 hours of building maniacal laughter? I'm terrified. But you have to do what makes you tremble. Otherwise, you can never get better.
Can
the
I just
reason why
say-
weakness exists is to show us how strong we really are.
I want to hear 30 seconds of maniacal laughing, don't you?
You son of a...
That was that.
Hi, I'm here all day. Are you ready? Are you ready? On your marks, set, go. Do you know what?
So stupid.
You are 10 seconds short, but I think it was that good, we'll let you off, eh? We'll have
It's a
next-
post-coital laugh. Yes.
Next question here.
Who would win in a fight, Sam from Uncharted or Joel from The Last of Us?
Here's the deal. I wouldn't put anybody up against Joel. That man is a ruthless survivor, and Sam has been in prison, so I'm sure he's had to fight off some people. He's a handsome devil. But Joel will kill you. There's a difference between a bar fight and I'll kill you. So yeah, I would put Joel up against Sam any day. Sorry, Sam. It's okay, I understand. Yes, sir.
Hello, how you doing?
Good.
I want to say that Booker DeWitt is one of my favourite characters you've ever done.
Thanks, mate.
And I want to just ask, from all the from that character you experienced with Bioshock Infinite, what's your most memorable moment in making that game?
Dude, I was just talking to Ken Levine about this. Arguably and universally, our favorite moment together was the moment that you see in the credits, where we recorded "Will the Circle Be Unbroken." That was just, everybody seemed to be going through a really difficult time. Courtney Draper, who played Elizabeth, especially, she had just found out that her grandfather was going to be placed in hospice care, and here we are singing this hymn about our dearly departed loved ones. So as she's singing that song, she has just tears in her eyes. And that was the only day that somebody brought a camera to the studio to record and just kind of get like behind the scenes footage. And it was this beautiful moment that we fortunately captured and had no idea that was going to be in the credits or anything else. But we all look back on that moment, and that was a really, really tough game to make, especially for Ken Levine. And we all call back to that, and that was our favorite moment, for sure. Great question.
Final question now, because
Yeah.
we're out of time.
Make it a good one. 45 seconds of building maniacal laughter.
When it comes to the roles you're given,
Yeah.
which ones do you prefer out of hero or villain?
Man, which of the roles that I've been given, which ones do I prefer? I would say this: give me a good script, you know. If there's a good script, I can find a good character. If there's not a good script, I can't give you a character with a damn. So for me, it's I really love it when a writer writes, as Neil Druckmann says, what's the least amount that I can say, what's the least amount that I could do, what's the least amount that I can write that conveys this thought. And whenever you can find a writer that's willing to distill their thought down to to the quintessence of what's at stake in the scene, and allow you to create a character based upon that. Those are the kind of roles that I want as an actor. Those are the kind of roles that I want to direct as a director. And those are the kinds of games and characters that I want to play as a gamer. And at the end of the day, all I want to do is make a game that I want to play. Yeah, thank you guys so much for your time.
Round of applause for Troy Baker.
Yeah, thank you guys.